All right, there's also the redistricting battle raging on. One member of a 3-judge panel issued a scathing dissent after his colleagues voted to block the redrawn congressional maps out in Texas. It reads in part, quote, "In my 37 years on the federal bench, this is the most outrageous conduct by a judge that I have ever encountered. Judge Brown's injunction turns the Texas electoral and political landscape upside down. It creates mayhem, chaos, misinformation, and confusion." So let's bring in Texas's Governor Greg Abbott. Sir, thank you for taking time with us today. Here is what that judge was dissenting from. This is the majority ruling. The 2 judges here wrote, "To be sure, politics played a role in drawing the 2025 map, but it was much more than just politics. Substantial evidence shows that Texas racially gerrymandered the 2025 map." What do you say, sir?
Well, first of all, with regard to that statement, there was actually zero evidence of any racial judgment playing any role in the decision-making process. But Jillian, know this also, that Judge Brown, who wrote that opinion, he was just reversed last year in a different redistricting decision. He was wrong last year. He's wrong this year. The senior judge you were pointing out, Jerry Smith, he was the only person on that panel from the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. He was exactly right. He's never seen, and I have never seen, a judgment, an opinion so erroneous in its writing. And it looked like Judge Brown geared his writing to try to achieve a result. And that's something that the United States Supreme Court, I think, is just not going to tolerate.
Okay, so it's going to maybe move up the chain in the judiciary, it sounds like. Take a look at this, sir. I want to get your response. We know that you have now designated 2 organizations, CAIR and the CAIR and the Muslim Brotherhood, as foreign terrorist organizations. You were out front of the president on this, sir. He has expressed interest, or Secretary Rubio has expressed interest in doing this, but as far as we know, has not made moves yet. So it's a bit of a test case. Talk to me about your decision to do that.
So listen, Texas has its own separate laws that are independent of the United States laws with regard to designating foreign terrorist organizations. I have that authority as a governor, and I used that authority previously to designate the Mexican drug cartels as foreign terrorist organizations,
right.
And now to designate the Muslim Brotherhood and now CAIR as foreign terrorist organizations. Listen, both of their history is long documented to be either connected or through affiliates connected to terror. With regard to CAIR, for example, one of the founders of CAIR Texas in our state had ties to financing terrorism and was put in prison for 65 years. More recently, the executive director of CAIR praised the October 7th by Hamas and that killed Americans. And so either their connection to or support of terrorism is something that we want to make sure that we block and eliminate in the state of Texas.
And sir, to your point, we got that soundbite right here. Our viewers can take a listen and decide for themselves what they think. These are the director of CAIR's comments, essentially backing Hamas in the wake of the October 7th attacks.
People of Gaza have the right to self-defense, have the right to defend themselves. And yes, Israel as an occupying power does not have that right to self-defense.
Governor, we do have a statement in reaction from CAIR. I will read it to you quickly. They say, although we are flattered by your obsession with civil rights, with our civil rights group, his defamatory proclamation has no basis in fact or law. We're ready to sue him again if he attempts to turn this publicity stunt into real policy.
Well, for one, as I just documented, I just gave you 2 of what could be dozens of examples about connections that CAIR has both with Hamas as well as other terror aspects, including funding terrorism. And so they're trying to cover their tracks of their legacy of connection to terror. And that's not going to stop Texas from being able to, first of all, designate them as a terror organization. But then second, what that designation does, it prohibits them from being able to buy or own property in the state of Texas.
Mm-hmm. While I have you, sir, I want to make sure I ask you about this. Sorry to jump around. We understand in a single day in your state, law enforcement apprehended 31 illegal immigrant commercial drivers. That is truck drivers who are in the United States illegally. Tell us about it.
Yeah, and that was just up in the Panhandle area near Amarillo, Texas, and it's an ongoing operation. We've seen this in other states. It's my understanding that those drivers that were here illegally obtained a driver's license in California, and we've seen that again where California authorizes people to drive and then they try to drive across the country. And Texas is putting our foot down, and we have operations by the Texas Department of Public Safety to make sure that we are not going to have illegal immigrants who cannot speak our language driving the roads, impairing the safety of our fellow Texans.
All right, Governor, we have to leave it there, but thank you so much for taking time with us. Great to speak to you as always.
You too, thanks.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.